Hello humans, welcome to the M Word podcast brought to you by Martin, that's me.
And Matt.
That's him. Lorna,
Hi.
welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today and taking a little bit of time to have a conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. We are obviously coming into parish time when you see a lot of walkers out in orange bibs.
Yep.
2023 winner. So we thought, why not come in and have a conversation, not only around that, but the broader element of sport, etc. So maybe set the scene a little for our listeners, for your background, let's say pre-becoming known as a walker. What sporting background do you have or not have, more importantly?
When I was younger, I used to do gymnastics for the island quite competitively. I did that for years. I absolutely loved it. But it's one of those sports that has a shelf life. Once you get to a certain age,
Right.
that, it's kind of done and it does not fit in with family life. If you're a gymnast, you're all in it and that's
okay.
it. You've got to be there hours and hours and hours.
So it's not necessarily an age restriction, it's more a time restriction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't do anything for years after I left gymnastics. And it was getting into walking by some lads at work were doing the Parish Walk and said, oh, just sign up, come along, it's a good day out. And that was it then. I signed up, went to Peel that year and absolutely loved it.
Right.
And yeah, that's how I got into it.
What year would that be? If you can recall that?
It was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first go.
So was the thought post that to start, let's say, being more competitive, or were you immediately like, I need to finish this? What was the...
Yeah, so the first year I did it, I just loved it and thought, I'm definitely doing this again and want to finish it. And the next year I got to Derby, but I just had my first son. He was about 3 months old, so I was not in any shape to be going probably past Peel, really. But I was like, I got to Peel last time, I'm definitely getting further, and it was just stubbornness that got me further.
Were you doing much training sort of later in pregnancy and post-pregnancy?
No, I was like really bad then.
Okay.
It was literally just out toddling with the pram or, just doing little bits. I wasn't seriously out walking. But then getting to Derby made me think, right, I could actually finish this if I step it up a bit.
Yeah, okay.
So the following year, that was my first finish then.
Okay.
So that would have been 2014.
Okay. And I mean, obviously the big things about finishing, but time-wise, where were you?
It was about 21 hours, 22 hours.
Okay.
I think it was 21:58, maybe something like that. Yeah. So got a fairly decent enough time.
Are you competitive by nature? Sorry, Matt, I keep interrupting.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly I'm quite competitive, but more with myself. If I set myself a challenge, then I want to see that through and I want to get it done. And I'm probably quite hard on myself, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah, because I was going to say, when you finished there that first time, were you looking at either, yes, you've done it, what time did you do, what position did you do? Were you thinking, I want to go back again and do better? Or was that, it's obviously not a challenge completed, but what went through your head there of?
Yeah, well, the challenge was to finish it in the allotted time, and that was it. And when I'd done that, that was me. I was like, ticked off the list, done with walking, and I didn't do it again until another 5 years maybe, because I did feel like I'd accomplished it then. And it wasn't until I had my second son and I was back out with the pram walking all the time, and I thought I need something to focus on and have that purpose to do something else. And I thought, well, I'll enter the parish again and, see if I can knock a bit of time off. And I knocked 2 hours off. And that's when it made me think, oh, actually, maybe I could do pretty well at this. And that was it then. Once I'd done it that second time, I got the bug then for, I need to get faster, I need to get quicker, I need to be this. And it just snowballed from there.
And those into in middle of 5 years, let's call them, were you doing any sport or just you'd had your first child and it was being mum?
I went to the gym, but I would say it was more like me and my mate on the treadmill having a natter and then go for like a steam and sauna afterwards. That was what we were doing, so not really anything, I wouldn't say.
So it's interesting just thinking about that you use the word purpose there, and we talk to a lot of in all variety, but we're talking sport here, that purpose is so important to and maybe that for us, we might call that a goal to do something 6 months, a year, or 3 years down the line. How have you found that? You mentioned that purpose. Is that I wouldn't say brought more meaning because we've got children and they're obviously far more important things, but from a general perspective,
I think
and purpose important.
Yeah, it is. It's just nice to have something else away from family life, away from work, away from kids, clubs, and everything that you do in that area. Having your own purpose, your own goal. That's what and I think from the gymnastics days, that was like a massive part of my life. I was there like 4 or 5 times a week competing and going away. So when that did stop, it was quite hard to find something that I really enjoyed again. So getting into the walking in a competitive way kind of gave me that drive then. And
and maybe then as you kick on from taking a couple of hours off, were you then, like in the firm, we'll talk about personal things about being consistently better, these consistent gains. Did you then go, right, for me to be a bit quicker here, I need to do a bit more structured training, I need a trainer, maybe need to look at my nutrition? How did you then start approaching to start chipping away at time?
So I went to the winter walking leagues that are run by Manx Harriers down at the End and Syd, and there's like Steve Partington is always down there helping, Steve Taylor, Marie, and they're good at helping you with the technique, good at saying you need to do this, that, with the little tips. And I've done quite a few of those winter walking leagues now, and each year I've seen an improvement with my speed, my technique. And although they're like 5 or 10K distance, that has helped in the endurance events. So they've really kind of brought
and do you do gym work and anything else, or do you just solely, I'm a walker?
No, I do Pilates once a week, and I've done that probably for maybe 5-6 years now. And I did that the whole way through pregnancies. And that's really good for strengthening and your core.
Is that group sessions you go to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever done Pilates, Matt?
I can't say I have.
No, it is good. I've noticed that in my first parish, I had kind of achy knees and hips afterwards I'd finished. And then I started doing the Pilates. And
I love you noticed achy hips and knees. I'd imagine there's a lot more that's taken outside of your hips and knees.
That were the main parts for me. But after doing the Pilates for a couple of years, I don't seem to have the same aches and pains. I mean, you still ache, but it's definitely nowhere near as bad. And I think that strengthening is probably one of the key things.
Right. We had a strength and conditioning coach, didn't we? Yeah. A few weeks ago, and we were talking with Ben Carlin, and we were chatting about that side of it, that it's maybe often overlooked. I'm interested in it because I'm just getting old, and I think it's important for old bones to have that support around them, but also in those little gains you can do from what I call also not difficult work. You always think I personally think when you're training, it's like you often have to put efforts in. Things we all hate doing. The sweat, but there's a lot that you don't need to do that you can improve without and put yourself in a hurt locker.
Yeah, I mean with Pilates, there's such like small movements and but the gains that you do get from it are massive.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I presume it's fairly similar to yoga. I've never been to Pilates.
Yeah, I think yoga's more like stretching.
Okay.
I haven't done yoga, but Pilates is more like weight resistant bands, and so and more toning and strengthening the muscles rather than the stretching side of it.
I need one of them. Definitely need one of them, or 2 of them a week. So times are getting quicker.
Yeah.
Is there any point during that process that you're thinking I can compete to win? Because as an observer, the ladies category, the standard continues to get better and better. So imagine your goals there, and then each year as people above you are getting quicker and quicker, the goals not getting further away.
I mean, it's something that I'd wanted for like a long time. Once I'd got into it competitively, I really did want to have that win. I came second a couple of years ago when Sam Bowden had her first win, and that made me think, I've come second, like I'm close now. And I started training really hard and looking at ways that I could get onto that first platform, and fell pregnant with my 3rd son. So I was like, I'm not going to stop through pregnancy. I'm going to keep training, which I did. So then I had that year off the parish, and then last year I kind of felt, even though I had just had a baby, I felt like I was in really good position to go for it.
And how have you found balancing that time between the training and this? Because I assume with the parish long distance event, that's hours you'd have to do over time at training to get used to that sort of endurance. Then you say you've got now 3 kids, and even during, as the first and second have been growing up, you've been doing your training in conjunction with that.
Yeah.
How?
I've got a very supportive husband. He's really good to, hold down the fort while I get out. But I've noticed my longer walks are definitely shorter now. I don't have the time to go out for 10, 15 miles every weekend. It's just not doable. You don't have the time or the energy to want to do that every single weekend. But I walk consistently every day, and they might be just miles up and down to school run and to the shops and backwards and forwards, or like 5 miles, go out at 6 a.m, back before anyone's even stirred from their bed. So yeah, it's just building the miles up every week, but they can be, shorter walks rather than loads of long walks.
Yeah, that's surprising. We chatted with Paul Atherton a few years ago, maybe, after he won it, and it surprised me that there wasn't more walks and longer walks involved. I mean, obviously there was an area where he was doing up to 30 miles, but I suppose that endurance, you'd maybe expect people to be doing more longer miles, sorry, not more.
The first time I wanted to have the finish, I was doing kind of like 15, 20 mile. Every Saturday or Sunday I would do like one long walk. And then it was the second time I went for it. I had the 2 kids then, and it just wasn't able to have that time. But I'd knocked 2 hours off. And I thought, well, that just shows me that for my training anyway, I don't need to be doing a 15-mile walk every weekend. I've seen the results with not doing that.
If people are listening and would be saying, I've got kids, they wake up early, I've got work commitments, you obviously squeeze it in because it's important to you. What would you say to people that are struggling to find that time?
Yeah, I think once it becomes part of your routine, then it's easy. At the start, it's getting up at kind of 5:45 in the morning. You think, oh, can I be bothered, or shall I just roll over? But I never regret going. I always feel much better when I get home for doing it. And you're not getting up every morning at 5:45. It's just maybe like once a week or twice a week, or whatever you need. And it becomes your routine then. And if I know I'm going walking the next day, I'll get my trainers, my walking gear. If it's winter, my head torch, everything out, put it all in the bathroom, and then when the alarm goes off, you just tiptoe out, and make a run for it. And I always have to go out the back door because the kids' bedrooms are at the front, and I don't want to slam the front door shut. So sneak out the back and go, and then that's it.
A lot of that training's on your own.
Most of it, yeah.
When you think about, and you mentioned about earlier about being away from family, not in a negative way, but in that space way, it's obviously that's your time. Is that like in regard to like thinking what when you're training, you're thinking about the way I'm walking, or was it just you kind of go into what they call the flow state and just have this general? Yeah,
I'm normally thinking what I've got to do. Like when I get home, got to do pack lunch, got to do this. What the kids doing? Like that's where I do all my thinking is walking. Okay. And yeah, sometimes I do just switch off because I never listen to music or anything when I walk. I just walk. I don't ever have anything on.
It's interesting. I would struggle the other way around, whether I'm running or cycling, if I'm on my own.
Yeah, I always used to listen to music, and then the parish stopped headphones, and I thought I don't want to become reliant on having that to keep me going. I need to get used to not having it. And to be fair, if you're going out at like 6 a.m, it's quiet. And it's lovely and peaceful.
Yeah, hearing the birds.
It's really nice. And then you walk back in the door and then everyone's getting up and it's like,
yeah.
So yeah, having that peace and quiet is actually quite nice.
Yeah, and like I say, then you're ready for the day, aren't you?
Yeah.
The exercise done already. So let's roll into 23. I suppose it starts with the parish. So one question I quickly ask, because you won the Syd Quirk as well that year, is that right? And that was the walk in the Syd Quirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you weren't running. I just wanted to check that. So you go in. How did you feel at the start of the parish?
I felt good. I felt like I was in a really good position. I knew I'd done a good amount of training. I didn't have any kind of niggles or injuries. And I think it was something I so wanted, that I was just so determined to kind of just go for it. And I mean, anything can happen on the day. Things you can't even plan for. You can feel sick, you can't get food down, you can't drink, or but I just, in my head, I was going to be first, and I just kind of went for it. And there was a few bumps along the way that I don't think anyone has a clear run on the parish. I think walking for that amount of time, there's always going to be something. But
was it the husband and 3 kids in the support car?
My husband was, yeah. Grandma was on duty for the 3 kids. She probably had it harder, to be fair. And my brother Carl, he comes out as well and does the support car. So they've done it the last few years now, and they know what they're doing. The
support, I mean, I've done support for people, and people have helped here and there with me. I just think it's the worst job in the world, because it's just, so they're driving a mile up the road, wait, yeah. Usually get snapped at. Yeah. Where's my water? Where's my food? And then drive. It's just a tedious job.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they are good.
Yeah, obviously it couldn't happen without them, could it?
No, yeah. You definitely need them. And even if there's not anything you want, like food or drink, just to see them and then, are you all right? You need anything? No. Carry on, just to have that face. It does make the difference.
Yeah, no, you're right. The fueling of that nutrition and fluid, do you have like set regimes? Are you sort of, let's say, big into that, or you kind of know what you want and it's just, quote, nothing too scientific about it?
Yeah, there's definitely nothing scientific about it with mine. Jam sandwiches are like the go-to, and that just seems to work. And yeah, I've tried different things over the years, and sometimes things work and they don't the next year. And I don't know, I think that's one thing that I'm yet to get like nailed on, really, the nutrition side of it. I think it's a hard one, because weather plays such a big part in it. Sometimes last year it was really, really hot, and things that I'd had in training just didn't want to eat, and I think it was the weather was so hot that didn't fancy.
And when I asked earlier about training, you talking about going to the walking nights, have you, through all this kind of journey, you ever had a trainer, obviously, let's say, a nutritionist, any other help outside of just you trying, testing and going?
No, other than the guys at Max Harriers, the walking lot, they've given me good
kind of tips
on my training techniques, and I've gone to a few classes run by Steve Partington on a Saturday morning at the track, and he does different drills and things like that. So other than those, it's just getting out myself and walking and seeing what works and what doesn't work.
And the same with trainers. Again, I appreciate people that are thinking about trainers right now. They're probably a bit late for the parish, but you just trial trainers. And
I went to Up and Running to see Chris and went on the treadmill. Okay. And that was when I did the first ever parish. And the trainers that he recommended are still the same trainers that I use now. They've changed model and slightly, changed over the years, but they're still the same style. And
it's interesting.
I'm just scared to change them now because I don't really suffer too bad with my feet. I know some people get like awful blisters and struggle, but on the whole, mine seem to be okay. So
where in when you were walking last year did you be thinking, this is done, this, I've won this?
I couldn't feel like that until I was kind of going along the prom. Because I just thought, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know, where the other girls are, what's going to happen. Are you going to, really lose your mojo but I did feel, fairly good throughout. I had a few kind of tough patches up north. Even though I've done it 4 times, I still don't quite know where I'm going up there.
Oh, right. What's a tough patch to you?
I find the bit from Derby up to Bride, it's such a long stretch. There's like no people out. There's not many houses. It's really quiet. There's no walkers in front. There's none behind. And it just, you've been walking 45 miles and it's just like, it feels like a hard slog. And
so is that toughness, I suppose, a mental toughness rather than mentally
starting to
feel weak?
Yeah, it's mentally, that's where I find it the toughest part up there.
How do you get yourself through those moments?
Last year, I just kept saying to myself, if you win it this year, you don't ever have to do it again. Just keep going, keep going, keep going.
You have ended this year, right?
I know, yeah. You recover and then think it's a good idea again. But yeah, I did. I think being in that first position, being up there last year, definitely was the driving force.
And were you more thinking about where the others were in terms of asking for updates from your support crew and checking what, how far were they behind? Were you like that, or was it more you're just concentrating on getting?
I just concentrated on going and just setting off and setting my own pace and just going for it. And I was kind of on my own for a while, and I think it was around Peel or Kurt Michael that the girl in second place, Sophie, she'd kind of caught up to me, and on a few of the churches you kind of cross paths going in and out, and I think she was like a couple of minutes behind me, and then I think it was Derby was the last place we crossed paths, and as I got a bit further up north, I did say to Mark, can you see, is she chasing me down?
Looking over your shoulder. Yeah.
Can I stop for a wee? Have I got time?
Right.
And she'd set a little further back from me then, so I thought, right, I'm okay. I can keep going as I'm going and not have to push at the moment.
Yeah, I imagine that's a mind game as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to fight your own thing, and then you're almost trying to look through the back of your head.
Yeah, and you kind of like start looking for people's support cars. If you see a new car on the road, you're like, is that a support car? But yeah, it is a bit kind of a mind game as well, I suppose, trying to look out for people.
Obviously, there's a massive physical side to the parish. If you had to put out a percentage, how much of that, just finishing, because I mean that's obviously the challenge of 98% of the people that turn up, how much of that finishing is mind and how much is body on a percentage scale?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely more your mind. I think a lot of people are probably fit enough to finish. Everyone's going to ache. Everyone's going to have sore feet, have blisters, have, what have you. But it's mentally whether you're going to push yourself to keep going through that. You could walk to Russian and end up with blisters and sore feet, or you could finish and have blisters and sore feet. It's, it's going to be the same kind of outcome. It's whether you are going to push through that.
How was the awards night?
It was good. It was lovely. Yeah, the kids came, my husband and family, and his family came. So it was really nice to share that with them.
I think it's a few days after, so I presume you don't suffer too bad then. Obviously stiff aches and pains, but the amount of general training and fitness you have. Yeah. You're not like a first time finisher who can't walk for a week.
Can't walk, no. No, I felt kind of quite good this year. It's just my feet swell.
Okay.
They just go really puffy and I can't get like my trainers back on. They
flip-flops for a few days. And do you struggle with hands?
No, not too bad with my hands. My feet just tend to swell as soon as I take my trainers off.
Okay.
And I just have to like ice them and sit with cold packs on them. But
I think you mentioned earlier feet don't get too bad. I assume you meant by blistering.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I've not. I've had like
workman's feet.
Yeah. No, I keep them really soft.
Oh, okay.
I don't let any hard skin build up, or keep them really soft, and I find that works for me. A lot of people do let them go really tough and
surgical
spirit and things, and I'm like, oh god, no. I mean, maybe that would work. I don't know. For me,
it's not blistering.
It doesn't
change it.
Yeah.
And do you Vaseline your feet or anything like that, or it's just soft?
Yeah, I normally put Vaseline on my feet, and then have these like double lined socks. Like they're called twin skins, and they are supposed to rub against each other rather than rub your skin. Yeah. But I do get like the odd little blister, and normally lose all my toenails.
Oh, okay.
About a month or so afterwards, and then they grow back ready to start again.
They're about the slowest growing things in the world, aren't they? So it's just a year later, they're like, we're back.
We're back.
You'll go for it. Yeah, right. So you go back to training post that. How long do you have off?
I can't remember now what I had off. I had a couple of weeks off, I think. Right. But again, taking the kids up to school, you're walking up and down to school, and just keep moving. Yeah. But then the end to end was coming up, so I thought, I may as well enter that. And
had you done that before last year?
I had done it quite a few years ago, and I always find it really, really tough. It's a really tough race, the end to end.
I say that's just because obviously with that one, that's the terrain on where you're probably not practicing on that. As you say, if you're doing your normal walks, I'm assuming it's on the roads and all around. You say you use your day-to-day movement, so that's a complete.
It's on the road.
No, it is on the road. Yeah,
It is on the road.
Yeah.
But it's pretty lumpy.
The
towards
bike
the end.
one follow is like off road,
Yeah,
it's quite a faster paced race, and then the hills all come in like the second part of it, and like you go up the How towards like Craignish at the very end, so you're absolutely done for, and then you're trying to climb up there. It's just tough going.
Yeah, I was thinking of the
into a mountain bike.
the mountain on the bike, because again, when you say in the How, that's where that used to end up. Because I've done the bike version, but not the walking. Okay.
And obviously won that.
Yeah.
Not presumably a surprise, I would assume, based on your performance.
I kind of planned to go. Well, I planned to finish, but I thought I'm going to walk to Peel and it's like as quick as I can, and that's kind of like just over halfway, and just see how I'm feeling. And I know the second half is probably going to be really tough, but if I get to Peel as quick as I can, then it's probably put me in a good kind of pace. And I felt really good going through Peel. The day was horrendous. It was chucking it down with rain. It was windy. It was awful compared to the Parish, which was like really hot day. I just carried on then from there, and it kind of gave
you were
me a
leading
good
there, I assume, were you?
Yeah, and it gave me a good boost to kind of carry on.
Yeah, right. That's 40 odd miles at the end to end.
Yeah, it says 39 miles, but my watch was over 40 when I
zigzagging maybe up the hill. That's probably the problem.
Getting blown over by the wind.
And the Syd Quirk's then not long after that either, is it? It's a couple of months max.
October, I think it is. Oh, yeah, that was September, and that's October, November time.
Yeah, right.
And again, that's faster pace again because it's a half marathon distance. Right. It is all on the flat, but it's hard going.
So it's interesting thinking about the training. Let's go back to the Parish days, where I presume a lot of that training and the thing is not speed work you're doing.
Yeah.
I presume it is or it isn't.
No, it's more kind of like
technique. Trying to be efficient as possible.
Yeah, that's it.
With minimum impact, I guess.
And build the miles up.
Right, okay. So stepping up, can you feel the difference when you go and do those quote unquote shorter events?
Yeah.
You just at a better pace, and is that pace again, is that all done off to you, like that was a mile, that mile I'm at the right pace, or is it all just I know the body and I know what speed I'm moving at?
No, I do have my watch on, and that beeps every mile to tell me what I'm doing, and it's just a much faster pace, so you kind of you don't feel like you've got any let up really. Like on an endurance event you can be like, right, if there's a hill coming, I'm going to take it a little bit steadier, and then there's a flat, right, I can pick the pace up. And, you change, your miles are up and down all over the place. Whereas on like something like the Syd Quirk, you're literally just gunning for it for the whole time. And it's hard going.
And the people entering those three events, obviously but do you get the same kind of competitors, or are there some who when they're starting to say the Syd Quirk because they might be more suited to a faster one compared to others? Is it kind of the same group that you all compete against each other, or how?
Yeah, there is a kind of most of the walkers, because there's not that many walking events really, so people that tend to walk tend to do them all, but there's definitely people who are faster races or more the endurance racing, like Erica Kelly. She's like an amazing speed walker, and had she had been in the Syd Quirk that day, she would have absolutely wiped the floor with me. So I kind of had it lucky that she wasn't racing, but she's she's great on the kind of 10Ks, 20Ks. That's good racing for her. Whereas I'm not sure what she would be like on something like the Parish. I suppose that maybe one day she'll give it a go.
When she gets a bit older and starts slowing down.
It'd be good to see her on the Parish, to be fair.
Yeah.
It would be.
It's GB level ultimately at the moment, that kind of level, isn't she?
She's very good. I mean, she's given me some tips and things for getting my fitness up this year, which has been quite handy.
Is that one shot to your competitors? Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm nowhere near Erica Kelly level though.
And how are you prepared for this year?
Yeah, good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really stopped my training. I had all of December off, just because it's such a busy month with kids and stuff for Christmas. So I didn't really do any training. And then January, I was like raring to go then. So I just kept it going, and yeah, just I'm hoping to knock a little bit of time off and see where that stands me this year.
The first lady to win, I think what in the papers described as a triple crown.
Yeah.
The Parish, the End to End and the Syd Quirk. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it was really nice actually. Yeah, it was, and I didn't know that when I was going into the Syd Quirk. I just thought, do you know what, I've done the other two, let's just give it my best shot and see what happens. And it was David Griffiths who does a lot of the athletics reporting. He's got like all his archives, and yeah, it was him that dug down and must have cross-referenced things and found it out. So it was a nice thing to learn.
Does I presume sport gives you a lot of happiness then?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I do really enjoy sport. I mean, enjoy all kinds of sport, to be fair. I wouldn't say I'm a very good runner, but, you know, like playing rounders and cricket with the kids. And, yeah, I'm quite...
Any competitive in trying to beat them, are you, or not?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm making my husband quite competitive,
right.
trying to beat them and beat each other.
Right.
Yeah, don't go easy on them.
Let's just talk a little bit about, I suppose, mental well-being. Again, Matt and I chat to a lot of people, and probably both for ourselves as well. We do sport as a release, so it's not necessarily about whether people suffer from mental health per se, the question, but it's, do you find it helps your general well-being, exercising? And
yeah, definitely. It's definitely, as soon as you've been out for a walk, you just feel so much better. You feel, you know, if you've had a stressful day at work or the kids are driving you mental, you just get out and it's like, oh, time, peace and quiet, and you come back and yeah, I always feel so much better.
I presume you found that in the gym days as well. It's like,
yeah,
I assume
that's
that's
it,
super intense, so all you can think about is the gym work.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. It was just, having that time away and that, puts you in a better frame of mind then to get on with everything else.
To tackle the screaming kids.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the parish. I think, again, something we look at in the business here as well is that community side of it, where, and it's something that amazes me about the parish is, you know, and I'm sure you've experienced it, and I'd like your views on it, of just people at the end of the driveway handing out, you know, food, etc., and just that community aspect. Yeah,
that's what I think will make me go to the parish to do, even when I'm not doing it at a competitive level, because it's such a nice event. And I always say this to people, even if you're not a big fast walker and you don't want to finish it, just enter it and, you know, walk to Santon, you know, the 10 miles to Santon, because the support you'll have along the way from people standing in the gardens, and, you know, it's lovely. It really is. I don't think you see that anywhere. You know, it's just lovely, a lovely event to be part of.
It kind of begs the question, doesn't it, when you're kind of stuck in a traffic jam, and appreciate it's an Isle of Man traffic jam, but still, and you're aggravated and kind of, you know, surly and whatever, that the human nature on the Isle of Man, it's lovely, isn't it? And if you could just put that in a bottle, that community on that day, and just sprinkle that everywhere constantly. We're all guilty of it, but it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you have people kind of sat out in Lorna outside in their front garden. I've seen it before, and they've got like a little fire pit going, and they're having like a glass of wine, and people are going through there at like, you know, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and they're, you know, they're sat out cheering people on, and it is lovely.
I think Mackle's a big
Mackle's
thing,
have a big,
big party.
Yeah, it is good.
So what's next? I appreciate the parish is coming up, but do you have longer term ambitions, or is it you've got families to bring up, and sport's the great thing? And
I'd really like to do a 100-mile race, but it's just finding the right one. They tend to be on an athletics track, doing laps and laps and laps and laps, and you know, I like a challenge, but that's definitely, I don't know, that's like a push. Like, I don't mind a mental challenge and a physical challenge together, but I don't think for me there'd be much enjoyment from that. It would just be a mental challenge, and I don't know whether that would do it for me.
And are they UK bet or
Yeah, they have them all over. So there's they're called like Centurion races. So there's like a European one and one in America, one in Australia. Yeah, they do them all over. So it's just kind of sometimes you get the odd one and it's done in like a park somewhere. So there was one on the Isle of Man a few years ago in Castletown, yeah, and that was like a mile circuit. So even that's quite short, but I mean, an athletics track would be
minimum, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think, I mean, there was a Dutch contingency, I think, coming to the parish. I think some of the lads maybe met them going away doing the Centurion stuff. I could be wrong. But.
Yeah, no, I think there is. So yeah, it's just finding the right one.
I can find you a 50-mile stretch of road that you could just do at the end of the parish.
Yeah, well, that's it. They have done that before. They've tagged like an up and down the prom, but I think the logistics for the organising committee just doesn't. Yeah, I'm sure
the parish is hard.
They're like, they've got enough.
You fasties bombing up and down the prom.
Yeah, getting in everyone's way.
How many drunk people did you see on the prom on your way?
Quite a lot.
Right.
Yeah, and
because you obviously
the faster you get, the faster you are, the more drunk people you see.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is quite funny. Yeah,
as long as they don't stagger and get in your way.
No, I mean, they're normally sat on a bench and like
eating
probably
chips.
Thinking like, what are you doing? What's going on?
Eating chips.
Yeah.
Will the Syd Quirk and End to End be on the list as well this year? Defending the Triple
I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure. I probably will do the End to End, and even if I just decided to go to Peel on that, but yeah, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see.
Just going to just quick last one for me. Total up thinking about sort of training. I appreciate you've got obviously a very, very good base now for when we think about endurance. But broadly speaking, per week, how much time do you think you're exercising?
I'm not sure actually. It could probably be anywhere, I suppose, between 40 miles.
Time-wise, sorry.
Time.
And the reason I asked the question is obviously we talked earlier about the commitment to do it, balancing it with family. Matt was asking the balance between family life and. So again, I suppose just back to that point, you have a conversation with someone today and they'll say, and we're all, of course, everyone's busy, we haven't got the time. And then you go, well, I train maybe 7 hours a week. I don't know what that number is, hence the question.
Yeah, I'd probably say there's probably like maybe at least 4 solid hours that I'm doing.
Okay.
Maybe like 2, like 3 or 4 walk, over the week.
It's not a huge amount.
It's not huge,
think about
no.
a week and the sleep, there's eat, there's family and everything else, but it's not a huge commitment.
So like on Wednesday, I did an hour in the morning at 6, but then I did another 5 miles out with the pram.
Okay.
So I wouldn't class that as training because I'm kind of, stop-starting as I will. So I suppose there's quite a few extra hours on top of that.
Just imagine a baby bouncing away while you're speed walking along.
Yeah, I've got one of those prams that is made for running with, so it's got like good suspension on it. Okay. So, yeah.
I suppose again it's interesting because then you're adapting your life, going, I need to get a bit of training in and doing 2 things at once.
Yeah, I haven't got time to maybe do 10 miles today, but if I do 5 early, I can go out for another 5. Yeah. With Elliot in the pram, and that kind of gets the other 5 done. Or like when, they're at football club, if they're training at football, I've got an hour, I'll go out then and do an hour. So
drop them off in your kit, go out.
And go out and come back. Yeah. So, and sometimes go on my lunch hour, even if it's just half an hour, 40 minutes down the prom and back, it's all kind of adds up really.
Yeah, it's very, very much there in building those habits and routines and changing that mindset.
Yeah.
Or as you said, it's where can you put change something simple for how they can integrate that little bit of exercise into what time you have available.
Yeah,
really.
It is. Because I think, at work, you can go out, get your body, sit at your desk and you sit there for an hour. And you've been sat there all morning. So you may as well just put trainers on, walk down the prom and back. It's, you have got that time to do that. And the same in the morning or, in the evening when everyone's gone to bed, just go out and have a walk around the block. It is just making it part of your routine.
It's interesting. So obviously you do a great job at that, and the people that always I see doing that, I don't know whether Jenna Singer,
Yes.
and Max.
Yeah.
And when I see them on Strava, it's like 5 a.m. one of them's out.
Yeah.
And you'll see they'll be out for an hour and a half, and then you'll look at the other, and it'll be they go out at 6:30. So obviously the kids are in the house, so one needs to be around.
Yeah.
But they're just, this is
Yeah,
our time. We both
Yeah.
need to exercise. One will do it, and literally to the dot, it's an hour and a half. The
Yeah.
next one's out at 6:30. I could almost imagine Max or Jenna sat at the door like this. Where are you? Where are you? Ready to
Yeah,
go and do
ready to
their
go,
bit.
yeah.
But just their ability then,
They've
the
got young
importance of
kids,
training.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The importance to them for their own, not well-being or whatever, but it's part of their purpose is to do that. And
I think as well, it's really good for the kids to see that you're doing stuff, because, you know, they go to so many clubs and sometimes they don't want to perhaps go to training and say, no, you know, you're in these clubs, you've got to go. And so you can't really be sending them to all these clubs and then like sit on your arse yourself doing like nothing. So I think they see, you know, that I'm out doing stuff. My husband's on his bike or out playing football, and also the support that he then gives me. They see, you know, that, oh, Dad's supporting Mum doing that. You know, I think it's good for them to have that.
Principles for the family.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, great. I think that's a nice note to end on. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck with the parish. I'm sure you just cruise around it. And yeah, thanks, Matt. Good to chat. It's a word out from Martin.
And word out from Matt.